All right, hello everybody. Hopefully the audio is coming in okay. And welcome to another stream. So I was I wanted to show a little bit of the updates from the past week, as I always do, and some of them are focused around the NPC AI, like the friendly AI, and some of the interactions with the AI and how those behave. Some of the work that I've done this past week. So let's get into it. And after that, we'll hopefully get into some of the things that I was hoping to do today. Hopefully something interesting and fun. Well, all right. And let me just try and move some of these windows away so I can see uh, the YouTube chat as well. All right. Okay. So one thing you'll notice is there's um from past week there was no AI, because I had some of the troubles after migrating the project. But now we have some metahuman that these are going to be like the guys they can actually interact with and be up close and talk to, some facial animations as well. And there's also like the other NPCs in the world that are just there for like, kind of a filling, you don't really interact with them. They do their own little activities that I think I've shown in previous streams. So let's take a look at how it works with one of these guys. I'm just gonna jump into game mode here real quick. So this one is just sitting and doing like an idle type of status. So that can be, in this case, is just smoking, but it could be one that's roaming around and looking for activities, like sitting down or going to sleep or anything like that. Now, the other ones are the metahumans. So the metahumans are um, the ones that you can actually interact with and talk. Now, what I've done is I've positioned them so they're in multiple um, they can be like sitting down like this or leaning up against a wall or kind of just probably just roaming around and you'd be able to still interact with them. So in this case we have this one guy here, so as you can see he's focusing on us once we approach him, and then once we start interacting, yeah, he's gonna run his audio, also like the facial animation is happening, and kind of the hand waving or gesturing that he would do. And after that, he's just in kind of an idling state where he's still paying attention to you, and he's he's gonna idle between a few states for the upper body, just so that it's a little bit random. There's some blinking going on, and I wish I would have, I'd be able to, I'm trying to figure out a way where there's maybe some kind of some movement, a little bit more dynamic movement um, of kind of the facial features, so to speak. Yes, so um, with the dialogues, you can, depending on the dialogue, you can reinitiate the dialogue and it will play it back for you. Like for example, right now it just went into slightly different upper body idling state. So it switches between, currently I think I have two or three animations that it switches between. So like for example, this one is happening at the moment. The other one is where he's got like his hand on his hip, and so that's a little bit more dynamic that way. But what I was also hoping to do is, so these guys would be able to potentially give you directions. So for example, if the plan is for some of these to just be kind of an intermediate in between you and the last the last guy you're going to talk to. So for example, It says you can, the text itself is, even though the audio, not sure if it came through, is something completely uh, not matching the text. And as you can see, it says you can find them over there. And what that would be is I want to make it so that it's able to point to this location here. And before doing that, one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to try and actually generate the audio for this that's a little bit more appropriate with being a male character and like the interaction. So currently, let's see, where is the dialogue? So for example, I have the dialogue right here, which again, the label of it needs to be changed. But what I'm trying to do is this one is not going to be needed. Um, but with the dialog setup that I have currently, you're gonna enter the start node and then this action node here that can have a few events. And in this case, I'm just gonna have an exit dialog talking, which is the event where I'm actually providing the facial animation, the body animation, and uh, the sound is already included with this plugin. And then the last one is the one where I'm trying to set it up so that it points to a specific location, which is in this case this Cody character. So let's start off with first I'm gonna do this guy. I'm gonna change him so it's gonna be in just a standing position. So that way, when I interact with him or when I'm closing up to him. Ooh, and I think I might have a little bit of a issue there. Let's see. Maybe chatting is the proper one. I think standing, I don't have one for standing. But now if I go up to him, he's just gonna, he's running his like the little switching between the three upper body animations, as you can see now, is like kind of just fidgeting around and moving around a little bit. Um, so that way it's not completely static and it's not just kind of a, breathing in and out type of animation. But you see some movement in his arms, a little bit in his head, and like right now, it went into the animation of kind of putting his hand on his hip and tilting down, tilting to the side a little bit. That's a separate idle animation for the upper body. And let's see, hopefully he's gonna switch into a third one. That way you can see like this one, the one with the smoking is just repeating the same animation and it's it's becoming very repetitive. But this guy, he's uh, I'm guessing this animation is kind of obvious, so I might want to give it a lower percentage of it, lower chance of it happening. But once I talk to him, what I would like to do is I would like for him to be able to point here, like actually raise his arm and point towards that location. Yeah, so right now it just went into a different animation again. Now, the only trouble now that I'm thinking of this is how is he gonna know how to point or what arm to use? Because like if it's sitting right like here, it's somewhat easy to use inverse kinematic on his left arm to point there. But if he was facing like this, the right arm wouldn't be that easily usable. If I'm approaching him from this angle, I would maybe want to use the right arm. So I'm starting to think that this might be a little bit more difficult to do right here on the stream, just because it's a little bit of um, kind of too much stuff that I need to think about um, when this would happen. Of course, given the the maybe the environment itself, that could be probably adjusted if I was to place him over here, like so. And it would definitely be forced into only using, because I can't get him to rotate around, right? So he'd be a little, maybe a little bit closer to the wall. Right, so I wouldn't be able to, he would like turn around like this. Yeah, it's kind of starting to be maybe a little bit difficult if I have him turning around like this to kind of watch me. The other thing that I was thinking of is with the ALS system, it does have a way to set the desired rotation mode. And I can set this one to be like the velocity direction. So what I'm hoping from this is that he won't turn. He would just turn his head around. And I guess he's still turning. Oh, my apologies. I've actually set this up inside of um, my character so that depending on my idle status, it would set the desired rotation mode. So in this case, I have them set it as, if it's in chatting, let's do leaning. I'm going to change this to leaning. So let's try. So that way it's going to pick up the looking direction and for the rotation mode and only and not rotate the body, and that's what I'm hoping for. So let's do like the idle status as just leaning. The only problem with it is I need to make an update where, yeah, see, so leaning, I don't think I have an animation for it, but now, see, I wanted to make it so that it's not trying to turn because it like the ALS has this system where it's trying to turn towards you. But like in this case, he's just sitting in this position. So I know that if the pointed to location is there, he's definitely going to just use his left arm. But I think I'm might be trying a little bit too much. Like literally, I don't think I've seen that in a video in a game that I've played before where you can get a character to point to where to go, so to speak. So I'm gonna maybe spend a little bit more time after the stream on this. Not sure if it's gonna be worth it, to be honest. But yeah, I think in the meantime, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. So this one here, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to change some of the statuses that an NPC that you can interact with can have. So for example, sitting, right? So sitting seemed to be working pretty well. Like, you approach him and he's like, looking at you and is not turning. So for example, I guess it's turning a little bit, but in this case, once you talk to him and you initiate the dialogue, currently what I have is it's going into this chatting state where he's getting up and he's initiating the dialogue. And I'm not sure I like that very much. I mean, it's fine. I'm still deciding on this, but yeah, I wanted to show this to you guys. And as far as the updates with the friendly NPCs. So for now, I'm just gonna leave him at chatting, which he should be just standing. And let's actually generate some audio, some proper audio for this. And for now, I don't think I'm going to be worrying about this too much. I'm just going to, in the audio, you can find him on the corner of such and such street. And I think that should be fine as well. And so what that brings me back to is this tool that I've shown before called Replica Studios to generate some AI voices. And I haven't used this in a while, and there's been apparently quite a few changes to it, which it it seemed a little bit somewhat for whatever reason it seemed a little bit easier, but now it somewhat I think it makes a little bit more sense. So you have this projects option, and for now I've had this as called John. This is my guy here, and I'm gonna go ahead and cast an AI voice actor. So there's a bunch of options in here, and I'm gonna try and turn on the desktop audio. Hopefully some audio is gonna come through. Let's see if I play.
The army is gone.
I think there's some audio coming through. At least it looks like that way from OBS. Okay, so let's do. I'm gonna look for a male voice, and let's see, Gray, Hammond, Sal. Let's see, what can we use?
They will be bewitched just as planned. My demon shall walk the land.
Hmm. Okay.
Jones, take Williams and circle around back. I'll keep the two boys busy.
That's kind of okay. Let's see what Gray is.
Hello, stranger. Are you getting a new...
It
That's
was simple, given that I had access to the facility after hours to set my
okay. Hammond, this Hammond voice is kind of okay. So I'm gonna try and cast him. And okay, so we have John, we have the characters cast, and let's go back to the project. And I think we need to create a new scene, which is actually kind of cool. So let's do an introduction. And in here we got the character John, and I guess he's got a few styles available to it, and that's depending on, I guess, different characters. Last time I've tried it had uh, quite a lot of styles. This one seems to only have like an internal monologue, fear, and angry. So let's try and just type something in, and you can say you can find Cody on the corner of Main and I don't know, let's call it Third Avenue. Main and Bushwick. Let's call it that way. I think this is a good place where something like ChatGPT can generate a little bit more of an intricate um, directions when you say, hey, can you create me some directions based on these two characters? So let's see how that sounds.
You can find Kodai on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
So that's a little bit, let me see if I change these to Y, if it's going to pronounce the Cody a little bit better. I think that's actually how you spell it.
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
All right, so that sounds pretty good. Let's see if we change to another style, if that is any different. This is angry.
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
Yeah, that's definitely not, sounds a little bit like screaming. Let's
You can
try.
find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
Yeah, I think the internal monologue was like kind of the closest to reality when it comes to an actual voice and not an AI generated thing.
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
So that sounds pretty good. Just gonna try and download this and let's see as a WAV file. And let me see where I want to place this one. All right, so now that's downloaded. Let's import it into Unreal and we'll generate the facial animations for the metahuman using the metahuman SDK plugin and then apply it to our dialogue and see how it turns out. All right, and let me see, where do I want to place this? So assets, dialog. I think the WAV files work with, yeah, there we go. All right, so
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
there you go. So that's our introduction. Let's call this John character find Cody. So now let's create the lip sync animation. Generate some eye movements and neck movement. Skeleton is going to be our face archetype. And then the mappings, metahuman. And let's go ahead and generate. All right, so now we have the animation. Let's see how this looks. There you go. So there's some pretty good movement happening. I wish there would have been a little bit more emphasis on kind of the forehead and kind of the facial structure, but that's totally fine. And assuming that could potentially be done through some, through a little bit of a node in the animation, the face animation blueprint. But now we have the lip sync. Let's create the anim montage for this. There we go. And apply it to our dialogue. So we have the dialogue. We have just a talking casual animation. And so this one, again, I'm gonna spend a little bit more time because it's kind of a cool mechanic. I've always wanted to have something like that working, but for now, it's just not gonna do anything. All right, and let's place the dialogue in here. And let's get cracking with this. Let's see what's going on. All right, so I think the audio should be going. All right, so there's our guy. He's just playing through his little animations. So let's
You
talk to
can
him.
find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. I'm not sure why it's like the audio feels like it's coming from um it seems like it's all around you. It doesn't seem like it's coming from I'm not sure why it feels a little bit unnatural when with the audio.
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
With the addition of this upper body idling animation, it does add a little bit of movement to the head that without it, it would look a little bit too static when it's also talking. So it doesn't, I mean, I don't feel so bad about the lack of other kind of facial movement, like the forehead and anything else.
You can
So let's
find
take a look
Cody
at
on
it.
the corner of Main and Bushwick.
And kind of a good amount of gesturing when it comes to moving the arms. Let's also update the text. Let me grab it from here. So that way, once you interact with it, once you interact with John here, you'll
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
you'll also get the proper text.
You can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
I need to change the UI for the text. It seems a little bit too the white text is very hard to read if it's like a really light surface behind the character. So something to try and fix. All right, so that's good. Um, it seems to work okay, and besides the text still being left
You
there,
can find Cody on the corner of Main and Bushwick.
which I just need to fix that widget. All right. Well, so that was those were some of the main updates from this week. Namely, um, kind of getting the NPCs to work again as before, and so some, like I said, some of these guys that don't really, they just walk around and they don't really do anything besides some of these activities. Like this is an activity here. Whoops, and I guess the enemy kind of saw me, so I don't want to interact with the enemy just now. Yes, okay. So um, that's exactly this guy with the replica studios. This is kind of the process what I also wanted to show as to creating a dialogue, generating the facial animation, applying that to the friendly NPC, getting them interacting with them, and getting the dialogue going. So now, of course, some of the other NPCs are going to have more elaborate dialogues, but this one was just pretty basic for kind of the first interaction with him. Okay, so let's see. That was kind of the main update from a mechanics standpoint. Um, there were a few other fixes, kind of behind the scenes that I was trying to put in place, and yeah, I think that's like I said, from the side of fixes and updates. This is it. And for the rest of the stream, I was thinking of just doing a little bit of level design like we've done in the past. And hopefully by next week, I'll have a little bit more of these guys downloaded, more of the characters of the game, and being able to interact more with them in the terms of, like, this one, for example, right now is just directing you to find this other person that you're gonna talk to and get a mission. So that's what I'm hoping to do for next week is we'll be able to place these. And actually, let's go ahead and jump into the main level. Place these guys into the main world and actually get some interactions going and some missions happening. So, for example, at the start of it, once you get your first mission, it's just going to be through, once you land, right? And once you landed, you're going to get the initial audio of what you need to do. So you're basically your first mission, depending on the landing spot. So that landing spot is going to direct you to the town, maybe. Like I said, if you choose the location closer to the town, and at that point you'll be able to interact with one of these guys that it's going to point you to Cody. So yeah, so that's what I'm hoping to have for next week. Should be fun. All right. Well, let's do a little bit of just a simple. Nothing is simple, but a little bit of level design and put some things together. Continue on with our town area. And speaking of town, what I was actually thinking, and I've kind of wrote it down. It's I was hoping to get the forested areas to give that a little bit of let's say care. where I am not 100% happy with because like I said, I had to recuperate a bunch of stuff once I migrated the level. And while I'm kind of okay-ish with the areas where there's forest, let me find an area that's a little bit more uh there's like some more wooden areas somewhere, I'm hoping. So let me just, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint a little bit of the mulch surface. I'm not entirely happy with kind of the undergrowth of the forested areas. I like the way the grass is, like I was showing you earlier, this section here. Let me see, where is that? Yeah, so for example, like areas like this, where there's like kind of the grassy areas. So I'm okay with this because, it's a combination of two layers of grass, so we can have, something like this. Let's see, how can I paint it? Am I choosing the right one? Yeah. So for example, there's some areas, for example, like the open areas would be with more of this tall grass, and in between they would have some sections where, am I selecting the right layer? Oh, yeah, the tool strength is really low, so my bad. Let's see. So one of these layers does not have the additional uh, kind of tall bushes slash grass. So that's why I'm see, like just like this. It's more like just the flower and like this little shorter grass, wild shorter grass. But like I said, for the areas with mulch, let's pick a spot here. So I'm going to use this area here and try and paint some mulch, and then we'll kind of simulate some of the, there it goes. I'm still running into some, not sure why, but some slight issues with how the landscape grasses are being applied. Because, as you can see here, shouldn't be any of the landscape of the grass material. So it should be like here. So I'm not sure if I just need to build the grass maps or what. But what I was trying to do, so let's actually generate the trees. And what did I call it? Just minimize some of these. Tree foliage. I think this should be it. So let's resimulate to get some trees in here. And like I said, what I was hoping to do is I was looking at the Nordic conifer collection on the Quixel Bridge, and I was thinking maybe I can use some of that collection to see how it looks, just to kind of give it a shot. All right, so we got the trees in here. It's a little dense, but I'm not too too bothered by it. Let's kind of get a placement right here, which so I'm actually kind of liking the combo that this one had, to be honest, which is the terrain with some of the roots and the rocks instead of this mulchy, well, it's literally called mulch, I think, this layer here. And but for now, let's go into bridge, and I'll show you what I was looking at. I'm also trying to see if I can find some other ferns. I think I only got like a couple of types, but let's go into collections or environment, natural, and I think it's Nordic forest. Yes. All right, so I believe under here I saw that there were some ferns, I think. I hope I'm recalling the right environment. Oh, there's no ferns. It's really odd. There's this lily of the valley, which are also some pretty cool plants. But interestingly, there is no ferns. So let me share one of the reference photos that I'm trying to that I was trying to use. And I'm not sure if anybody's watching this new show called Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. That's just um, a show tied to like Godzilla and that kind of franchise. So this is the surface that I was hoping to get going. So as you can see, there's like all these ferns going around here, and this kind of surface, which which I really like this undergrowth, to be honest. And it's pretty close-ish to where I'm at with this. Of course, I think the density of the trees might be could be a little bit lower, but that could be easily adjusted from the procedural foliage. But for now, I'd like to see if I can get, as you can see in this reference photo, there's kind of a different ferns. They're actually kind of big. I know they can grow pretty big in these pine forests, but um, I'm looking more at the kind of the shape of it more than anything. And while these ones are okay, um, you know, um, if I'm not happy with what I find with Quixel, I'm definitely fine with keeping these. So let's try them out and see what else can we find for ferns. Unfortunately, this Nordic environment doesn't have a fern, which is pretty odd to me, but because the photo itself has ferns. So yeah, go figure. But let's take a look at the 3D plants. I'm going to try and find a fern that's kind of close to that one. And I think these Boston ferns are pretty close. Let's see. This is kind of the common fern. They're also pretty nice. This fern. And these ones are actually kind of good looking too. So let me try grabbing one of these. All right, so I'm just going to add that. Now let's update our landscape layer. And the easiest way for me is just to get into the material and landscape grass. And let's take a look. It's going to be index 6 for the ferns. And actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this. So that way, I'm not losing the initial setup. All right, so here's our fern. Let's try and add some of these ones from, Yeah, and see, this is exactly what I was talking about. I'm not entirely sure if I have, maybe I have some kind of issue how I'm setting up the grass instead of not sure if I need to subtract the mulch from the grass even though it's not on a grass layer. I was always under the impression that you can just, plug these in like this, mulch, and that they would work, but I'm still like a little bit on the fence on how the landscape grass is handling the layers, the landscape layers themselves. So that's something to kind of look into, I would say. Yeah, see, like it still has everything on there. It definitely works when there shouldn't be any vegetation, but when there is, it combines everything onto this one layer, and that's why I'm a little bit, why is this happening? Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean some of these up just to can actually call mulch to be on the mushrooms. And then I have the grass. Let's remove this mud leaves. And let's also remove the rocks just to try to keep it a little bit cleaner. Yeah, so what I would expect here is the logs, the mushrooms, and the ferns to be on the mulch layer, the grass to be the grass 1, and then the grass 2 to be on the second type of grass. But not sure if that's what we're gonna get. Or actually, maybe that was it. Yeah, I think that might have done it. My little mess that was those layers, even though it didn't have anything assigned to it. I'm wondering if that might have this might have fixed it. Okay, now let's apply to the ferns layer. I got the ferns v2. So let's apply our Megascan ferns to these. And let me see, where do I have that? In Megascans, fern. And the main reason also that I like this is that it's got a big variety of ferns that are all with the same material. And I think these ones are the same, but some of them are kind of different. So I think they might be an extra material here that I could save from needing to use it. Okay, so in here, let's try and apply some of these ones from Megascans. So there's one. Let's get the second one in here. I'm also not entirely sure of the scale size of these. And then this one here. So yeah, those actually look kind of cool, I have to say. Let me change. Um, yeah, these ferns, I think they definitely look a little bit more realistic, a little bit better, I think. All right, and along with that, so I have some ferns in here. Let's try and adjust the scaling. I think they might be a little bit small comparing to the character. Let me a layer in here. I mean, they're not actually, come to look at it, they're not necessarily, I think they're pretty close to world size. Yeah, so I think we're good there. Well, we can keep it that way. But the other thing that I wanted to change here is this kind of mulch surface. And this one's a great texture from this Nordic conifer biome. It's a really good looking texture, I have to say. But I wanted to try another one that Quixel has. So let's go back into Bridge. And for this one, I'm actually going to go um, into the let me quickly pause here for a little bit. Yeah, these are pretty similar to those. That one just has more types of it. So let's go into our collections and environment, natural, excuse me. And in here, I think I said Nordic forest. But in this one, I think at least this section had some pretty good options for the forest ground. So we can try and look through some of these, like some ground leaves. This is quite a bunch of um, roots, so it might get a little noisy once it starts tiling. And this one is a good mixture. This one is not so busy. I kind of like this one. So let's see if we have anything else. So this one's the winner so far. Yeah, let's give this one a shot and see what it turns into. All right, now we need to go back in here. Let's see, where is our mulch? I thought I actually had it so that it's a parameter or an actual value that you can change. But for now, let's go back into this layer of mulch here. Apparently, I did not set this up as a texture sample. So these ones look like they're just kind of mixed. So a mixture of things. So I'm gonna convert this to a parameter mulch base mulch normal, and then a mulch roughness. I think it's the rough. This is one of the things that I would like the developers that do things on the marketplace to kind of come to a consensus as to use like a roughness metallic something, or they're all over the place. Like this one has, I think it's the RGBA that is the roughness, or something with the height map. It looks like, oh no, actually it is the RGBA that is pulled both into the rescale height map and this. So yeah, these again are some things that I'm going to need to simplify a little bit more. But for now, I have the parameters, and let's see if we can actually change those into our thing here. All right, so we have the base, we have the normal, and we have the, well, roughness. I'm just going to keep it like this for now. But let's see how this texture looks. All right. Just 1 second, guys. I might have to cut this a little shorter, namely in like 10 minutes. But yeah, let's see. I was kind of thinking that it. All right, so let's apply them. So there's that. Then the normal. I really don't know what to say about this. The cool thing about some of these materials is that they do blend between um, two different surfaces or two different textures, which turns out and with you know you know results in a pretty cool effect. Kind of what I was showing you with this layer here, where there's like the rock stuff, kind of the root stuff. So that's pretty cool. But you know, this one, I don't know what to say. It's a little bit of a big contrast. So let me try and get the second layer in place. And let's go into bridge here and go back to our collections and environment, natural, Nordic forest. So I'm going to try and combine two of them, just like that one had it. And I'm gonna go with let's try one of these with the roots. I'm kind of curious to see how that's gonna look. All right, so back into our material function, as you can see there we have this other layer here. We started with the base. So I'm gonna call this base 1 and 2. Oh, actually, sorry, still 1 because it's the first layer. And then the second one is going to be this. So mulch base 2. This is normal. Rough 2. All right, let's save this. All right, let's go back um, into our where did I put it place. There we go here. So here we are. We have the mulch. Let's do the mulch base 2, the one with the roots that we just downloaded. Mulch normal 2. Let me quickly save it because you never know with Unreal. All right, so let's see. We have the that forest ground, then we have this one. Then we have the normal for the first one and the second for this one. I wish Quixel would have a, I'm not sure, sometimes their naming is just, you know, I get it, there's like a name, an ID, and then the resolution. But sometimes the naming is just like that, which is hard to read at times. All right, well, we have the roughness. I'm not going to care too much of it because, you know, this terrain, unless it's puddle and some mud, is always going to be, it's going to have a pretty high roughness. Now, the only thing is, I'm not entirely sure why it's not, the shaders haven't compiled completely. So there's no errors in here. And this one's also fine. But it looks like this one hasn't, the shader hasn't fully compiled, which I'm not really getting why that is. See if there's anything in the output log, though I doubt it. I think that was from earlier. So let's see if we undo these ones. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying try to save often. Sometimes undoing would cause it to crash. So let's see what it looks like. Just to at the end of the stream, we'll see how it looks like in that test level. Because I'm not entirely sure why that error with the material happened. That is definitely um, I had no explanation for it. All right, let's find a place with the trees. And yeah, like I said, it's odd why that layer is not acting properly. Yeah, because if I try to paint it, that one's having some issues. Okay, well, something to fix. But hopefully you got an idea of what I was trying to do. And like I said, this material is very powerful with the fact that it has this these material functions set up where you can combine the two different textures, right? So this is as I was explaining, as I was showing in this mulch layer here. You know, you got two sets of textures. You know, you got the base one and then another set here, um, and you know that way you get a variety like I was showing you with this one here. Like this particular one has like some flat areas. You know, has the roots. You know, has the rocks. Of course, you know once you zoom out, the good thing is it doesn't appear as the tiling gets removed quite a bit. So that's a that's a really nice nice way to do it. So thank you everybody so much for stopping by. I'm sorry the stream was a little shorter today. Um, I'll try and see if I can do another one later on today, if I can figure out this issue with the material. So at least we get some of that going. Hey, old nag. Yes, sorry about um, the stream ending, but the rocks and cliffs. The rocks are a combination of. They're actually the mesh itself is from. I'm not sure if I have it in here. Like for example, this one originally was a mesh from Quixel, but I ended up, redoing the shaders for it so that I'm using kind of a unified shader across um, all my natural meshes. So yeah, hopefully that gave you an idea. But ping me on Discord. I can definitely show you a little bit more. All right. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Um, I hope to see you on the in the next stream. If I do end up doing another one today, like I said, depending on whether I figure out that the issue with that material function, I'll post it in Discord and kind of schedule it ahead of time. So thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.